So we've pulled up in Bembridge Marina, which for those of you who aren't familiar with the Solent is a beautiful little marina, very small marina, very shallow and a bit difficult to get into sometimes, which is why sometimes you get a little bit off course. On what is just a beautiful winter's day, it's very cold, but it's okay and it's sunny and I'm very much enjoying it. The birds are next to me making a bit of a noise, so hopefully you can hear me over those. I'm going to cover off two sections while we're sat in Marina because it's worth a bit of focus. One is, what are the commercial benefits of the cloud? Why do people do it? And I think, there's a lot of benefits. There's also a lot of downsides. So this second part is going to be commercial risks and things to consider. Now, the commercial benefits of the cloud, we've covered off a few of these already in previous videos. One of the main ones is cost. And I think this comes with, it's a double-edged sword, as they say. You can get into computing without spending an absolute fortune on hardware and software by just buying something by the hour in the cloud, which is great. But if you're going to use it all day, every day, it might be cheaper over time to get your own IT. So there's a cost benefit and probably more a cash flow benefit of going to the cloud rather than buying your own hardware. And if you manage it correctly, actually it can be a lot cheaper, but in reality, you just need to go with your eyes open. So the cost savings are there, but only if you are managing it correctly. And again, without delving too much into the downsides, the thing as a procurement professional you need to consider is, am I going to use this computer for more time than I need to, weighing up the pros and cons of consumption-based models. So, if you're being charged by the hour and it's on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it might be cheaper to buy your own asset. If you're using it for 1 hour a day, then actually the asset, probably is a lot more expensive, so don't bother doing that. And it's that intelligence and commercial modeling you need to do from a financial perspective and from a commercial perspective to make sure you understand how you're being charged. But, if you get your head around that, it can be significantly beneficial to buy the cloud. The second sort of primary commercial benefit, if you like, is avoiding scalability cost. So if you are looking to buy a piece of hardware, you can scale up and down in the cloud a lot more readily than you can go out and buy more servers. So in that context, quick and easy scalability where you can get access to it very, very quickly because the cloud providers have already built massive infrastructures is very important. And hopefully, if you are able to predict or not predict in some cases, but work with that scalability, the cloud provider's done the hard work for you. You just tap into it on an on-demand basis. So that actually presents you with a significant commercial benefit because you can get your time to markets quicker, your time to incremental scale is quicker, and so that all those things add up to being, fundamentally a commercial advantage. The next one's probably a bit more contentious. There's a debate about whether the cloud brings business continuity and flexibility. Oh, I thought I'd just been dive bombed by a bird there, sorry. Now, I think it's really worth engaging with your IT department to understand whether the cloud brings you genuine business continuity. Cloud platforms are in business to continue to run. And so AWS and Azure and GCP are all cloud platforms that are very, very highly resilient, very, very highly scalable. And so as a result, all of that extra capacity and resilient stuff has been bought by Amazon and Microsoft and Google, so you don't have to. But you tend to pay for it as well. If you buy a cloud server in Microsoft's Azure or AWS, it's not by default going to be there forever. And it has been known over the last few years, AWS and Azure and GCP have all had outages in their data centers. And if you haven't designed failover to another data center or, bought that extra resilience, a backup service, then, it's your problem, not theirs. And their SLAs, from a procurement perspective, is worth reading into their SLAs, don't really guarantee much. They give you availability to a server, a virtual server, but fundamentally they don't guarantee it's going to be there 100% of the time. And so it's worth looking at designing fault-tolerant or resilient infrastructures to support that. The cloud platform won't do that by default. But if you do that, actually, it's a lot cheaper buying a virtual server in another data center through AWS than it is buying your own data center and putting another server somewhere else. So obviously there's a commercial benefit to that. Other commercial benefits, it does give you the access to different and new technologies. So, as I mentioned before, AWS and Azure and GCP, they're all out there investing heavily in new technologies to drive their own services forward. And you can go out and get some of the newer technologies on a pence per minute basis in some cases, which again, will save you a lot of money and allow you to play with things in a way that, you probably couldn't, because you wouldn't be able to go out and get very expensive new technology very easily. A lot of the cloud providers also provide what they call migration assistance programs or investments. So they will incentivize you to put your workloads into a cloud platform. So you'll get free money from some of the cloud providers to help you migrate your current services into their cloud platform. Obviously, they are banking on the fact you're going to stay there and use their services so they get the money back, but it's worth exploring from a procurement perspective if any of the cloud providers you're working with offer those sorts of services. Other commercial benefits, and there's probably loads to name. Realistically, it's sort of the future. People buying hardware, really, it's a big expense and it gets old very quickly in the world of technology. There's a lot of commercial benefits to the cloud, but also there are a lot of risks, and I'll cover off that in the next segment.